When I think back to some of my favorite fishing memories, there are lots that come to mind. But one thing that stands out in many of these is my first boat, the white boat. My first big purchase as a young adult who wanted nothing more than to fish every single day. This boat was more than just a boat to me, it was an escape. Either from a long day of work in construction or an excuse to get out of town, every weekend it was a new lake, a new state, and a new adventure. Back then, the species didn't matter. The memories did. Some adventures with friends, but many were on my own. Looking back, I realize now just how much I learned in that boat. Little did I know back then that these documented memories would change my life forever. The Week on the Woods series, the first muskie catch on drone, would all be stepping stones towards fulfilling my lifelong dream of one day making it in the industry. After 3 seasons and countless miles together, our journey would come to an end. The day I sold the boat, I watched it go down the road, and a piece of me went with it. 3 years later, our paths would cross again when I got the opportunity to own the boat. Our mission is simple, to restore the white boat and keep the nostalgia of this boat alive. What's up, guys, and welcome to another video. This is a super special one. This is gonna be a restoration video on the first boat I ever personally bought. I got a funny story with this thing. I bought this boat in 2015. I was still working construction. I found this boat down in South Carolina, called up the guy, worked out a deal, and then a buddy of mine we both drove down to South Carolina, picked this boat up, put it out on Lake Hartwell, took it out for a test drive, and just absolutely loved the thing. Brought it home. Fast forward to 2018, I started guiding. I realized that this boat was a little bit undersized for customers as far as fishing on the Great Lakes with customers, and ended up selling it, and then bought a Ranger after this boat. And then from there, fast forward 3 more years, I really wanted to get a secondary boat, kind of a backup boat, a boat that I wanted to call kind of my Canadian adventure boat, a boat that I want to take to Canada. I don't need it to be this big, huge, giant, deep V that I have with my 219. And I was looking for an older fiberglass boat, and I was looking through Craigslist and Facebook and all these places. I couldn't find the boat. And finally, it kind of dawned on me I loved my old Triton, my old 205. I wonder if that kid that I sold it to is looking to get rid of it. So I sold it to kind of a friend of mine, shot him a text, said, hey man, if you're ever thinking about getting rid of that boat, let me know. I'd love to get it back from you. He hits me back instantly and says, I'm actually gonna sell it this winter. And I was like, what do you want for it, basically? So I ended up buying the boat back from him. We have the boat here itself. I picked it up this last year, and then I sent it up to Canada. Jess did a lot of guiding out of it up at the resort, and it's just such a nice platform, such a nice layout. It's a 2001, just a big old fiberglass boat when they used to build these things like absolute brick shit houses. But a super good frame for the initial boat. The trans was amazing, great layout, great musky platform, and we're gonna take and rasterize this thing, or bring it back to life basically, and do some really cool stuff starting today. So we're gonna jump up in this thing, and it basically needs, I guess I'll kind of run you through what it has right now. So when I had this boat, it had a 225 Pro XS, so 2005, with a ton of hours on it. I ran that engine, I sold it to the kid, he ran the engine, got it back to Jess, she ran the engine for a year, and now the engine's pretty much wore out. It's tired, it needs a lot of work, it's got like 1,600 hours on it. But we're gonna replace that engine, put a new engine on here, get a jack plate on here. When I did buy the boat right away, I did put a kicker on it. Kicker is just a great thing to have as far as safety, especially up by Jess in Canada where you don't have cell service. If you need to get back, home, the kicker is always there for you. So I found this kicker, bought it from a friend of mine who's a mechanic. I think I paid like $800 for it. It's a 9.9 Mercury kicker, 4-stroke. It's got electric start, just a super great deal. And there was actually already a kicker plate on here, but there was never a kicker on it. When I bought the boat, it had the plate, but no kicker. So I mounted there on that right away. Right away when I did get the boat, I ordered a just in case from Bob, just for tackle storage. Obviously the best tackle storage in the world for musky baits, and actually all baits now. Bob makes so much cool stuff. But we put this box in here right away. So this actually, I sold to the kid who bought the boat, and then when I bought it back, I wanted the box back with it. So I got the box back, right? So we got a just in case box, we got a kicker motor. I did put 2 Solix 15s on this boat. They were left over from one of my Lunds. So I put one here on the dash, and then I put one here in the back. This is just the gimbal for it. We're actually gonna move that. But we're gonna get some new seats in this thing. We're gonna put a new floor in this thing with some aqua traction. We're gonna do some restoration of the fiberglass. There's just so many holes in this thing. I don't know how many different trolling motors have been on this boat. When I got it too, I did put a 112 Terova US2 on the front. Just awesome trolling motor. 72 inch was probably a little overkill, but then if I ever needed to get a, you know, if I have a backup for my boat always, but if I needed a third trolling motor, I could grab this one, put it on my Lund, or vice versa. So I just kept all my trolling motors the same. I could have got away with a 60-inch shaft with this boat because it does sit a little bit lower in the water. The bow's not so high. And generally it's going to be in Canada or smaller lakes, not so much the Great Lakes, but just wanted to keep it simple, keep it steady, run the 72 and have that up front on a quick attach plate. But basically there's just so much Swiss cheese in the front of the boat from all the different holes and trolling motors and plates that have been on there. The dash here has had so many different graphs and units on it. There's rod holders. I put tracks on this boat when I got it for trolling. When I started guiding, I put tracks on. I never trolled before that really until I started guiding, and I had to. But there's a 4-foot Trax-Tech track on here, but then all these old ram mounts and stuff, we're gonna get rid of those. And then if you see the boat cleats here in the back for tying up, I'm gonna get rid of those ones and do a dropped, recessed boat cleat so that you don't have to worry about catching your rods underneath it. It is nice. Triton does have a little bit of it is slightly recessed. You guys can see that. But also your rod is very prone to sliding down in there. But then we're gonna get rid of like that downrigger plate. We're gonna get rid of the rod holders on this side. This gimbal mount has to get moved back, and we just got so much awesome stuff. We've got a really beat up floor. You guys can see here, this carpet is just so tired. I mean, it's wore right down to the fiberglass up here as well. You can see right down to the glass on this. So we need to get some new lids for this thing. We need to get some new flooring in this thing, some new seats. And this is gonna be the start of this restoration project for this boat. And I'm super excited about it because it's gonna turn out so amazing. So right here, guys, you can see this ram mount. I'm just taking this off here. I'm gonna pull these screws out. And you can see all the silicone that was on this. But now we're gonna pull this right off. Just nasty, right? But I want it to be a nice clean edge on this here. So I'm gonna get all this cleaned up, and then all these holes is what we're gonna get fixed by our fiberglass guy. He's gonna fill all these in, make it a white, make it match nice, clean all this up, and get rid of all these ram holders. We're gonna get those cleats off. It's just gonna be awesome. We're gonna get rid of this 2-stroke oil additive at some point because we're gonna go with a 4-stroke going forward. And we just basically gotta pull a bunch of stuff off of this boat to get all these holes fixed. Well, guys, we're making good progress. This is the pile of crap we've taken off so far. We got the tracks off. We're gonna move those back. We got the other old rod holders off. We got some stuff off over here. It was funny, I was taking this piece off. This is a piece I put on back in 2015 or 16, but I had these 2 pieces mounted here, and then you'll see the holes in the side, and I had a big piece of PVC, like a 3-inch piece of PVC that would go way up, and then have a camera way on the top of it, and we'd have this big pole that I rigged up off of this system, and the guy never took it off. But we're gonna get this thing off, get these holes fixed, see what else we can add to the pile. All right, so now we're getting into the messy stuff. Not Jesse's mess he left in here, but all the wires underneath. This is an old ram mount. This is actually what I had my first Helix Mega SI unit on when I had the boat. But that thing pulled off, add to the pile. We got to get this compass out. And I want to take this mount off. This is a great mount, but I want to take this off and then rig up some kind of different system once we get all these holes filled in. That one, it's a big hole here from this compass, and then kind of reassess and see what I want to do here. But these wires will stay here. This is perfectly fine. All my wires coming out, but we'll get rid of like that little screw, these rusted things in here, these couple screws, and then get all this stuff filled in with new fiberglass. All right, we got all the screws loose here on our electronics mount. There's just nuts on the back side. There we got that off. Now we get the compass out. Put this back by our other mount. Get this compass off here. And then these couple little rusted guys there. We should be good. Man, I've been wanting to get this thing off the boat since I bought it back in 2015. It's a big, huge hole. Like, look at all that mess That's all gonna have to get filled in, or I'm not sure what he's gonna do there because that thing is massive. We should be good here. Oh, I gotta get these two old guys out quick. That rusty thing. Well, we got all of our stuff out. I'm actually gonna pull all of Jesse's baits out of her just in case. I have to see if there's anything I need to borrow, not give back, but we're gonna pull the just in case box out here. There's a couple holes in the back here from an old casting deck that I had that you could put in, but obviously the just in case box takes care of any of that and is a way better solution because we way more storage for tackle. So I just want to take this thing out, get those couple other holes here filled in the back, and then we should be able to drop this thing off and get our glass fixed.